top 5 teams in Duck history. Ryan had 2012 as the top team, 2010 at number 2, 2014 at number 3. The latest team, Big Ten champion Ducks of 2024, sitting there at the 4th spot. And the Joey Harrington-led 2001 team at number 5. For myself, I also had the 2012 team at number 1. I had 2014 at number 2, with 2010 coming in at number 3, and I got 2 Lanning era squads at 2024 sitting there at number 4, and the number 5 team, of course, the Bo Nix-led 2023 team. So let's talk, Ryan, first about the team that we both had as the number 1 team in Duck history. Man, that 2012 squad was next level. And if there was a 14 playoff or 12-team playoff like there is now, Oregon would have been certainly one of the favorites to maybe make a run in that particular year. You're talking about a team that averaged almost 50 points per game outside of their loss to Stanford. The closest anybody came to these guys was a 43-21 game at Arizona State. Oh, by the way, a freshman, Marcus Mariota, 32 touchdowns in that season, completed 68% of his passes. Let's talk about Marcus Mariota. When you first saw this guy, a freshman quarterback from the island out there in Hawaii, did you see it right away that you knew this kid was special, certainly from the outset?
Well, yeah, there was a lot going on then because you had Darren Thomas, who is another Oregon great. It kind of felt like he had the writing on the wall. He saw that this kid was going to be awesome, and he opted out of his last year in an era now where with NIL and everything else, he would be getting paid more than he would be making in any sort of professional level. He never made any sort of real professional level outside of some little minor league sort of stuff or whatever, but you could tell right away that Marcus was the guy. And Marcus came out to a team that was absolutely on fire. That 2012 team is really, I mean, as the Ducks have been over the years, this is some what could have been type of teams as well, right? There's some losses on the schedule here. 2012, you got to end with the Fiesta Bowl win, but that was a team that probably should have been playing a better opponent then. And again, that DeAnthony Thomas run back in that thing was one of the greatest moments. I was in the stadium there. I was tailgating with all the K-State fans, and they all were saying the same thing. They said, y'all just can't start fast. If you start fast, we're in trouble. But y'all, if we keep it in the game close, maybe late, and as soon as the thing started, 7 seconds, I was like, it's over. And that's a hell of a team. So, yeah, no, the numbers on that team are crazy. And then that's the last year of Chip. Then Chip leaves after that one, and Helfrich takes over. And, of course, you see really good teams after that as well. So
I was close on the 2014 team with the 2010 team. This is kind of where we differed a little bit. Both teams went to the national championship game and lost in the national championship game. Now, you look at that 2010 team. That was undefeated in the regular season. 2014 had one loss in the regular season, so that certainly plays a factor as well. But I'll say this about the 2014 team. They ended Florida State's 29-game win streak. Remember, FSU went undefeated in that 2013 season. And that 59-20 game in the Rose Bowl, of course, everybody's going to remember that Jameis Winston fumble, Tony Washington taking that thing back in a very memorable score over there. How close in your mind do you think is this 2010 versus 2014 team debate?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're in totally different eras, but they actually just kind of bookend the same era, right? Because, you know, the 2010 year came out so hot, maybe a little unexpected. The 2014 year is probably a better defense, but the 2010 year, man, was just lightning in a bottle and caught a lot of good breaks. That was before the conference realignment or the 12-team playoff or 4-team playoff, or so there's a lot of stuff where that was kind of the old school, the BCS era. You know, I don't know. It seems to me that, you know, each one of these years, it's hard to compare and contrast. Yeah. I mean, I think it's all about, like, did they win at the end or not? Or, you know, were they better in the regular season or not? Because, you know, the 2014 team, you're right. That the game against Florida State, had we not had to go play Ohio State the next week and lose, that's probably one of the best games of all time. And I was there for that Rose Bowl, and it was amazing being in there. But as soon as the game was over, we immediately switched gears to, all right, well, let's focus on the next game, and we didn't really ever get to really enjoy that win, it felt like. Versus, the 2010, I was at that national championship game as well in the Phoenix. That one, it felt like, was a real tough one because you were so close. And we played Auburn better than anybody had played them pretty much all year. And it was really close at the end. And, there was the whole was Dyer down thing. And it was there was just so much with that. So it's fun to go back in time and think about these things. It's definitely a wild time. It was a good time to be a Duck, I'll tell you what.
And it still is. And it still is. Certainly these days as well. But yeah, that was a debate where I really struggled with that one. That one really went back and forth, certainly for me. For the 2024 team, I had 2024 and 2023 on my top 5 rankings. I thought 2024 had a better defense, and 2023, of course, with Bo Nix, who we will talk about in just a little bit. But you had Bo Nix. I thought they had a better offense, certainly as well. Now, you did not have 2023 on your list, but for now, for the sake of conversation, what's kind of your thoughts on the comparison of the last 2 years of Dan Lanning when you talk about the 23 team and the explosive offensive production as opposed to the 24 team that was probably a better, more well-rounded squad?
Yeah, that's a tough one because they're pretty close. I do think though that both those teams are awesome. I mean, the 2023 team. Yeah, I mean, losing 2 close games, the 2024 team, you go undefeated until the very end. It's pretty good. I think it's hard when they're too close together to kind of compare and contrast. But yeah, you're right. No, I tend to think that anything that's happening right now, this is, I think, the best time of Duck football. If you want to go and compare it to all the other previous eras, I think Dan Lanning's the best coach you ever had. If you want to go top 5 coaches, you want to go. The best time to be a Duck right now, it is now, and I think it's only getting better.
Let's talk about that 2001 squad that you had on your list, and I was so close. I think that was a team that was in there. 2007 was also, I know you had that kind of in your honorable mentions. That was in that group certainly as well, but let's talk about 2001 because that was a team. Finished number 2 in the country, a big Fiesta Bowl win. Of course, it was quarterbacked by Joey Harrington. We know all about the billboard in Times Square and all of this was really the team that got Oregon on the national map. What kind of an impact do you think that this 2001 team had as it pertained to the future that was going to come in the coming years for Duck football?
That's a great question as well, man. I think probably just as big of an impact as that national championship 2010 group. It was a solidifying yourself as a new era of football for the Ducks. We had just got the the new jerseys with Nike and the connection there, and it felt like everything was on the up and up. You just built the indoor practice facility, and everything was on the way up. And Joey's a year younger than me. I love Joey Harrington. He grew up in my same area of Portland, and they're very intertwined, and it feels great whenever you're comparing and contrasting some of those best teams to put that team up there. They had a lot of professionals as well that came out of there, a lot of pros. That would be the other thing I'd say about the 2023 and the 2024 team. There's a lot of pros that came out of that team, guys that came out of that thing right away and ready to play, like Bucky and Bo. And then also this year with having as many guys go to the combine as they've had. I mean, this probably doubled the amount of guys at the combine for Oregon. So I think that is always what set the 2001 team apart, was just how many professionals were on it. If you go back that 2007, 2008, there was a lot of professionals on those teams as well. But yeah, the 2007 year is the kind of what could have been year with the Dennis Dixon situation. That same era is important also to understand is out here. The Beavs had their best year the year before.
That's right. Yep.
So the Beavs went on an absolute tear and won 11 games. The fact that the Ducks answered back and win 11 games, that also kind of sets the tone for a little bit of the gap that Oregon's going to start to create over this next chunk of time against the Beavs as well. So